And so we are on again. Good. So, I want to talk about my last photograph that I have taken. And this is actually the image that you see. If I'm looking, both directions, is because I have two screens and I like to kind of look at the bigger screen a little bit more than the small screen. I just see better. But I will try to show you pretty much everything, the process step by step. So the image that you see here, I have created recently, but the image itself is not so recent. The editing is recent, from about a week or so ago, and then the image itself is rather almost a year old. I have been to, I think during last year's Easter, in Falster. I think it was in Falster. Beautiful place, amazing beaches. The time at the time wasn't so amazing. It wasn't exactly so beautiful and sunny. It was basically rainy the entire time, the entire day and night, and it was super miserable. But that's actually a good thing, because then you can work a little bit better with the image. You don't have so many distractions. You don't have so much like light distracting you, and so the more the dull picture is, or boring, the better later is to edit the image. At least that's how I see it. I am going to show you, of course, step by step, the image, how I have created that, but I also want to show you. I also want to say that for my next stream, I'm gonna try to get myself a cup with my name, because apparently all the YouTubers. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm still I am still a self-portrait photographer, but all the YouTubers have like a cup with their name, and then they hold it fancy. I just have a cup with my face on it, but I don't have a cup with, like Juls or Juls Jay photos, or Juls photography, or anything like that. So I'm gonna get that, and I'm gonna dump this IKEA tea glass, but because I was in the water, and it's January and I winter bathe, and it's just been horribly cold, so I can enjoy a nice cup of tea. So warm cup of tea. All right, so let's hold on one sec. So what I like to do is I actually like to take you through the process step by step. So first things first, I have taken this image. I don't know if the music in the background is a little bit too much or not, but I guess I will figure out when I will finally watch the edited the video after it being posted. So anyways, I'm receiving some notifications around here, but it is from my Pinterest, and I will tell you why. The photographs that I take a lot of inspiration also from Pinterest, so I get a lot of notifications. Oh, the music is good, it's not bad. Thank you, Kali. Thank you for telling me. Good. So I want to show you the first image that I have taken, and then I'm gonna show you the second I'm gonna take you step by step. I hope I'm not going to get blocked by YouTube, because I used presets of blood for those birds, and the birds are also not original birds. I use presets. But basically what I do, I find some inspiration on Pinterest, and I get a lot of notifications that they come constantly to my tablet. So if something starts beeping, binging, that's probably it. But yeah, I have it on mute anyhow. Sometimes I forget to unmute it. All right, so I'm gonna start with this one. So this image is from Falster, I think it was in Falsta, like I said. I think it was in Falsta. So I went there with for Easter, and I found this really, really amazing branch, which is this one. Yeah. And when you come and see, let me just show you. First, initially, I thought I will use this piece of branch as a something that maybe it's sticking out, that I got pierced by the branch and I fell on the branch, because the branch, the problem with the branch was that I found the branch and I wanted to use it, but initially I ended up using this piece right over here, this piece, and I placed myself right before the bushes, and so I forgot completely about, let's say I didn't forget about the image with the branch, I just didn't know how to use it. I didn't want it to be too redundant, that I have, you know, 3 images of the same kind of style and type. So as I was going through my let's say not supplies, but my images, raw images on my computer, I realized that I hope commercial is not going to come in for my music. Hopefully not. Okay. I really wanted to use the image, and I just had no idea what to do with it, because I already had something with dramatic clouds, and that was the image before, and I was laying down on the grass, so that was another image that I have in my on my Instagram. If we decide to scroll through it, then I can show you. And then I had of course the bird picture that I edited, the dead bird on myself, and so I thought, okay, that would be also redundant, and it's the same dress, of course. So I really didn't know how to edit this photograph. And as I mentioned, Pinterest, I take a lot of inspiration from Pinterest, and I saw some like birds flying, and I thought, if I could get birds flying a little bit above me, then maybe I could create some sort of image. So I'm going to show you what I created, or rather how I created. So of course we always start with the background, and then we create a layer mask. And I'm very, you know, these Photoshop specialists, they'll always create that thing for you, and it's like, you know, you should rename this, and you know, so you know that you're working here in color, and so you can, you know, so your work is a little bit less messy. And I like my work messy because I find myself working the best in the mess. So I might not exactly have every layer named, but that's not the point, because as long as I know what I'm doing, that should be okay. So of course I created the layer for the image so we can work without any distractions. And I have presets of textures, and I thought I always wanted to add some texture. And I thought, okay, let's add some texture. So I was going through my texture presets, and sometimes they're like you know, concrete wall, or you know, like paper wall falling, or any, you know, things like that. So I chose couple of textures, but I also took down the opacity and fill in them, so they're not so right in your face. So first I added this one. It's kind of like, you know, a little bit of concrete, a little bit of things around here. And as I said, this one was in 100% fill, but it was 79% in opacity. So that's something that I wanted to do. And of course I created a layer mask because the entire image was covered in that particular pattern. So I wanted to remove a little bit things from around. So I wanted to take away the patterns from the branch. I wanted to take away from me, and not so much around, because you really cannot see anything that is happening around. But I wasn't exactly satisfied with this particular one, and I was sitting, okay, Well, it is something. It is happening. Something is happening. So that's kind of a little different, background and different, let's say, top, because it's not really like clouds. The clouds are very invisible, and it's not really and it isn't really sky, but I guess supposed it could be a sky, but it wasn't really supposed to have resemble the sky so much. So I did this, and then I thought I should probably add another layer to it. So I added another layer. So if I take this layer away, and you can see that's completely here a different layer. It's almost the same, it's similar, but the pattern is a little bit different. So I took the opacity on it as well, but I took the opacity to 40% and the fill to 72%. So I really wanted to make it a little bit more dim and more not so, let's say, not so in your face, because if I would not, so here is one layer and here is the second layer, so I have just a little bit more pattern kind of all over the image on the top. And now was a fun part. Now I wanted to add some birdies. So I started adding birdies one at a time. And this was actually preset with 3 birds at the same time. The birdies, of course, I had to edit them as well a little bit. So I needed to take down the white and not the fill-in opacity, because I wanted to have them exactly as they are. I did resize them a little bit. Initially they're very, very big as presets, and so that's about it on the birds. And so I just kind of changed them and repositioned them and so on, each bird except for the 3 that is in the pattern. So I resized them a little bit, positioned them in a way that I thought maybe somehow it would work. Now, I did start initially say about this branch over here, which I never came back to it, but the branch ended up not really being anything of significance. I could have removed it, but I thought, what if I would decide to put a birdie on it? But I didn't have a birdie that was, I don't know, that would fit the image, let's just say this. So now came the more interesting part, and I hope I'm not going to be blocked because of it. I thought birdies themselves are not so, like, it doesn't really give me anything in here. So I started adding a little bit of blood. So I started with this one, just a splash. No birds were harmed during taking this photograph. It is only a preset from Photoshop, so yeah. So that's, please don't worry about it, because I already got blocked from Instagram Live, and I'm no longer able to do Instagram Live because they thought it was explicit content, which is of course not. But so this is absolutely not a promotion. This is fine art photography. It's not a promotion of some sort of violence. I'm a peaceful person, also vegetarian. If that makes any sense, and if it's significant. But I wanted to add, coming back to the images, jokes aside, I wanted to add blood on every bird. So, because I already had an image in my head how I kind of sort of wanted to have it, but of course the image did not resemble. So this one of my final, but I'm very happy with it. Right here. So this one was number 2. I also added grain to each blood splatter. I added grain. I took down the not opacity but saturation. So the blood kind of resembles a little bit more of a blood, so it's not so radioactive red. Then I added another one, and so the third one was over here. Oh, you cannot see it because it's sorry, it's hiding behind. Okay, so right over here, and you can already see it's a little bit more grain. I don't want to show the pixels too much because I want to show the image. Yeah, so it's a little bit more down on the color, desaturated, and there is already grain, as you can see. Okay, let's go further. Blood number 31, and that was right on this birdie, so I placed it on. Then we have number 32, and that's on this birdie right over here. And then we have blood number 5, and that's a very tiny one, so I have to reposition here. That's right, just a tiny, tiny, tiny piece here. The tiny little piece was somewhere around this birdie here, but it didn't really work for me in the way that I wanted to initially do it. I thought maybe it should be like he's crying with it, but then it just kind of blended in with the beak. So I thought it was not such a good idea. So I added an extra blood for him, and that was right in here. And I don't know, people always ask, why does it have to be so much blood with you? You're such a positive person. I am. Maybe that's I'm channeling the person that I want to be. I don't know. But so yeah, so initially we started with the birdie right over here. Trust me, I love the birdies. They're amazing creatures. One time I had this really fun experience with them. That was about 5 years ago, during COVID, and me and two of my best friends went out just to town, and we thought maybe we would get something to eat, but of course not everything was closed, but it was all the restrictions. We couldn't even use the toilet, the restrooms. That it was that closed down for customers. We could buy something, but we would have to just go. And then we bumped into like a lot of pigeons. I think the pigeons were suffering as well during COVID, but because they are used to eating outside restaurants, people just give them like fries and other things. And I had a bag of peanuts because I always have a bag of peanuts, and they just literally sat down on my hands and started eating from my hands. They were just not afraid. Yeah, they poop a lot, but they are funny birds. So we came to all the blood splatter, and then the final thing, I thought, okay, this doesn't really work for me. So what could I do here that is a little bit, So I have presets which are fog. And the fog works in both ways, depending how you would want to later use it. You can have the fog image completely, as in the fog visibly white, or you can take, for example, have the fog a little bit more transparent, and whatever is around the fog will be completely black. And I kind of thought I would experiment with it. So I added the fog. And the fog was a little bit smaller, which is a little bit more compressed. So I stretched it out through the entire image. I moved it a little bit and positioned it a little bit differently. And of course, that birdie over here was not visible whatsoever. So I created a layer mask, like right over here, and I just subtracted a little bit of the darkness of the image to give it, let's say, additional fog. I didn't want to stretch it again too much, because if I would stretch, then of course this piece over here would have been visible, would have been a little bit too visible, and I kind of thought that this part works for me just fine. Let's just try to take it a little bit. Yeah. So I thought this worked a little bit fine for me. Let's just, there you go. Oh, I have to remember that the camera is right on the side. So I wanted to keep this part completely dark and completely black. I didn't want to give any more over here, because once the branch is over and ending, there's really not much to show. So I just thought it would be pointless to show too much. Yeah. And so normally I don't usually, you know, I was kind of sort of satisfied with the image, the birds were fine, blah blah blah. I subtracted a little bit here from the darkness, so created a little bit extra fog here. And then I wasn't exactly satisfied with the image yet, so I took it to Lightroom. Normally I could do everything what I wanted to do in Photoshop, but in Lightroom I have very few that I purchased online, presets. And normally I would always discourage people from using presets, especially people who take photographs, wedding reception photographs or weddings and so on, because if you're creating image and just put a filter over it, then it just you're not creating anything special. You're creating basically the same image like everybody else out there, and the whole idea of your own personal touch is your own personal touch. It should be exactly your image instead of other people's stolen images, especially in a tricky business like wedding photography, where all the images are exactly the same and you cannot tell photographer one from the other. So, but in this case, you know, I played with light, and I took the saturation from, and I added a little bit more blue tint to it, but I still wasn't exactly satisfied with this image, and I often test it this way. So what I will do, I will take an image that I would consider it final in Photoshop, and then I would switch it to Lightroom, and then I would try to play around with some couple of presets that I purchased that are very professional presets, because there's a lot of free presets out there, and free presets, not exactly. They just don't give you exactly what you want. But when you purchase some presets, professional presets, and I'm not gonna tell you where. One, I'm not sponsored by it. Two, I just simply don't remember, because I bought them like 2 years ago, and and I just kind of use them. I test them. Let's put it this way. I test them. I think that's about it, right? So Lightroom. So we have an image sorry, this wasn't that one, it was this one. So I added a little bit sharpness to the image as a final thing. I added a little bit maybe brownish color. I left the birds as they are. I thought they were cool. I didn't do anything more to them. I think the light from you worked. It's supposed to be kind of whimsical image, not exactly resembling the truth as if I was reading with birdies. I don't know if you actually see the same image as I do, because it's more brownish than it is bluish, and I am just testing it on my tablet by watching myself, and I can see that on the tablet is a little bit different coloration, just slightly different coloration, but it is a little bit more brownish than it is bluish. So that is the final image that I have created, that we have taken on little vacation Easter break in Felsta. If you do have any questions, let me just see if we can pull something out here. You can always write me via my Instagram, and that is right over here. 7 people already wrote me something. So, right. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. That's it. So I can maybe show you the images that I was talking about. That's a lot of reels right over here. So we just have to find it. There it is. There's my reel, how I was trying to find the branch and do something about it. So as I initially started talking about the branch, somebody moved. I had it originally placed and somebody moved it, and then so I tried to move it, position it how I wanted it, and I ended up taking so many photographs and had to go back to it later because yeah, because unfortunately somebody moved my branch and I couldn't anymore use the branch how it was. Yeah, and it's me, very, very dirty. Yeah, so thank you for watching, for being here, and of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to write me. I like to answer them, professional questions, of course. My marital status is of no people's interest. But of course, if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them promptly.